somewhere, right now. You are living inside a story, not reading one, not watching one. You're in it, a story so convincing, so deeply woven into your bones, that you've mistaken it for reality itself from the moment you woke up this morning. Everything you saw, heard, and believed was filtered through a lens you did not design, the words people use, the events you think are happening, the values you defend as though they were carved into the very structure of the universe. None of them are truly yours. They were handed to you, handed to all of us. This is not a paranoid fantasy. This is a quiet fact of human existence. We rarely confront because doing so feels like staring directly into the sun. The human mind is built to adapt, to accept, to find patterns, but it's also built to be guided, molded, and, if one knows the right levers, controlled. History has whispered warnings about this for centuries. Plato, more than 2,000 years ago, told the story of prisoners chained in a cave, mistaking shadows for reality because they had never seen the world beyond the wall. The allegory wasn't just about ignorance, it was about how truth can be irrelevant when perception is owned by someone else. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the game became far more sophisticated. In the Soviet Union, reality itself could be edited. Officials who fell out of favor with Stalin didn't just lose their positions, they disappeared from photographs, erased from history as though they had never existed for millions of citizens. These absences weren't lies, they were simply how things were today. We laugh at such crude manipulation, thinking we've evolved beyond it, but our own version is more elegant, more invisible. We call it content curation, personalized feeds, trending topics. You don't notice the hands behind the curtain, because the curtain now lives in your pocket, lights up with a gentle buzz, and whispers to you in your own preferences. The shadows on the wall have become interactive, addictive, and almost impossible to resist. Consider The Truman Show. Delusion, real psychological condition identified in recent decades. Patients genuinely believe their lives are part of an elaborate reality show. Their friends, family, even strangers on the street are all actors in a grand, hidden production. While the condition is rare, its existence hints at something uncomfortable in a hyper-connected world where cameras, algorithms, and narratives surround us constantly. How far removed is this delusion from what we actually live? You might say, but I'm aware I can spot manipulation when I see it. Maybe. But the most dangerous illusions are not the ones we see. They're the ones so foundational, so normalized, that questioning them feels absurd, like asking whether water is wet. The algorithms shaping your newsfeed don't have to convince you of anything outright. They simply choose what you see and what you don't. They make some truths louder, others quieter. They create patterns in your head until you believe you arrived at them independently by the time you defend your opinions. They feel like the product of your own logic, when in reality, they may have been planted seed by seed, click by click. And here lies the paradox. The more convinced we are of our independence, the more susceptible we are to the illusion. Just as the prisoners in Plato's cave would fight to defend the shadows they know, most people will protect their curated reality at all costs, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. Live in an era where deepfake videos can make anyone say anything, where corporations can brand lifestyles and values into existence, where mass movements can rise and fall within days based on what trends, yet we treat the images, the words, the digital moments as though they are untouched by human intention. We treat them as reality itself. But what if the truth is that your reality is a stage, that every belief, every outrage, every comforting reassurance has been set up, lit, and framed just so you keep playing your role? The clock is still ticking, not because time is running out, but because for the first time in a long time, you are beginning to notice it. This is the crack in the mirror, that hairline fracture in the perfect image you've been handed since birth. Ignore it, and the reflection will remain intact, polished, convincing, safe. Follow it, and you may find the glass shattering, revealing something raw, unfiltered, and terrifying on the other side. In the next minutes, we're going to follow that crack. We will trace it through history, psychology, and the digital architecture of the present day. We will meet the architects of perception, the invisible hands that have, for centuries, decided what is real for entire civilizations. And when we're done, you may never look at yourself the same way again. The birth of the grand illusion. If the human mind is a fortress, then illusions are the master keys that unlock its gates. This section explores how the illusion of reality is not a byproduct of modern life, but an ancient, deliberate construction that has evolved alongside human civilization. We begin by stepping back into the earliest human societies, tribal gatherings around fire, where myths became the first architects of collective belief. These myths were not just stories. They were mental blueprints, shaping the way people saw the world, themselves, and their place within it. From there, we trace the transformation of these primitive myths into organized religions, monarchic propaganda, and the political narratives that have ruled empires. Each era had its own version of truth, carefully packaged to suit those in power. The printing press didn't just spread knowledge, it industrialized the illusion, allowing those with control over media to control the boundaries of public imagination. The section then shifts toward the industrial and early modern age, where illusions became less about spiritual salvation and more about economic obedience. We'll explore the psychological techniques, repetition, selective framing, and emotional manipulation that turned entire populations into willing participants in their own deception. By the end of this section, the audience will see how reality, as they know it, is not something they discovered, it is something they were given. And the more seamless the illusion, the harder it becomes to question it. The machinery of the mind. The most powerful illusions are not projected on screens or carved in stone. They are engineered inside the mind. This section pulls back the curtain on the cognitive and psychological machinery that allows deception to take root and thrive. We begin with the architecture of human perception, how the brain doesn't record reality like a camera, but reconstructs it from fragments, guided by biases, expectations, and prior beliefs. In this reconstructed world, truth is less a mirror of reality and more a collage stitched together by the subconscious. We'll explore phenomena like confirmation bias, which ensures we only see what we already believe, and cognitive dissonance, which drives us to defend illusions even when cracks begin to show. From there, we move into the social dimension, how the mind is not an isolated fortress, but part of a vast mental network. Herd mentality, social proof, and authority bias weave a fabric of consensus reality, where questioning the narrative becomes an act of social defiance. Propaganda exploits this architecture with surgical precision, using fear to close mental doors and hope to open the wrong ones. The section will also dissect the emotional triggers, primal instincts that marketers, politicians, and leaders have long manipulated, from the adrenaline spike of fear to the dopamine hit of belonging. The mind's reward and threat systems are levers for those who know how to pull them. By the end, the audience will understand that illusions don't survive simply because they are convincing. They survive because the mind is designed to protect them. We are not just victims of deception. We are its guardians, the architecture of control. If the mind is the theater, the systems of power are the architects who design the stage. Script and lighting. This section exposes how modern institutions, media, education, economics, and politics are not neutral structures, but finely tuned machines built to shape perception, manufacture consent, and limit the range of what we can even imagine as possible. We begin with the media apparatus, a vast network that doesn't merely report events, but selects, frames, and edits them into a narrative that reinforces existing hierarchies. Here, truth is less about accuracy and more about alignment with the desired worldview. News cycles are engineered not for clarity, but for emotional capture, keeping the public oscillating between outrage and relief, fear and hope, never calm enough to think clearly. Then comes the education system, presented as the path to freedom, but functioning as a system of intellectual domestication. Children learn obedience to authority before they learn to question it. Creativity is graded, curiosity is scheduled, the mind's natural hunger for exploration is slowly replaced by a craving for approval and validation, the result. Citizens trained to fit into the machinery, not disrupt it. Economics forms the invisible cage: debt, wages, and scarcity shaping life choices more effectively than any dictator could. Most people are too busy working to survive to even notice. The bars of their prison, the illusion of choice between products, between careers, between political party sides, the fact that the structure itself remains unchallenged. Politics completes the cycle, offering the spectacle of opposition while ensuring both sides serve the same deeper interests. Election seasons become grand illusions of change, drawing energy away from the question that is never asked: who built the system itself and why? By the end of this section, the audience sees that control is not imposed solely through force, it is woven into the very reality we inhabit. The walls are not around us, they are within us, and we carry them everywhere we go. The silent war. Control without chains. This section reveals one of the most unsettling truths of the modern age. The fact that control no longer requires whips, chains, or even open violence. Instead, the new rulers have discovered a subtler weapon, shaping the very thoughts and desires of the masses. This is where philosophy, psychology, and realpolitik intersect. We'll examine how ancient rulers used religion, art, and public rituals to create unity and obedience. Then compare it with the modern tools of control: mass media, advertising, curated social narratives, and a digital panopticon. The audience will be taken through the psychological concept of soft power and behavioral conditioning, showing how today's forms of control are not designed to break you, but to make you willingly participate in your own subjugation through chilling historical parallels, from Rome's bread and circuses to the corporate entertainment complex. The section will challenge the viewer to consider: are you truly free, or have your chains simply become invisible? The tone here will be both intellectually sharp and emotionally haunting, pushing the audience toward a deeper distrust of the comfort they mistake for freedom.